Lucky Boys Podcast.
Welcome to Lucky Boys Podcast. I'm Will.
And I'm Norm. And we have a very special guest today, Sunny Liu, entrepreneur, artist, and volunteer. You just came from a volunteering event, right?
Was supposed to, but it was kind of like rescheduled today.
So
yeah.
So we could have done this podcast way earlier.
Yeah, basically, yes.
Thank you for coming in. Very interesting story. You shared with me your spiritual journey. I think a lot of us have been trying to get into self-introspection, right? For myself, I've been doing a lot of meditation. Very short bursts of meditation. I can't do like 2 hours. That's crazy to me. I don't know how people can do that, but definitely it opened up my eyes on a lot of things about myself. Just getting to know myself, hearing my inner voice, because there's a lot of distractions in the outside world, especially now with COVID.
Yeah, and the election.
Yeah. So how did you get into the whole, spirituality journey?
First of all, I'm really excited to be here.
Oh, of course, excited to have you.
Super excited to be here and also sharing my spiritual journey and the question you just asked. I actually just started during COVID. I wasn't even doing meditation before COVID. Like, that's the funny thing. And I wasn't even like experienced in this. Like, some people are doing meditation like way before, right? So like you said, like I was not able to do meditation for like hours. Like I started with 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. So I started like doing meditation 15 minutes, and it's really interesting. It's a really, really funny, to me, it's kind of a little funny because it's kind of spontaneous. Okay, the word is, and so like I did not expect it at all. What happened is during COVID, since you can't go out and you can't really do much, and since my work, I can't really do much work because I used to do like events and actually like teaching people like have to be face to face, so I couldn't do that. Mm-hmm. So I was stuck at home, and but I still want to be like productive, and also like love to read. And then so I was watching YouTube. So I come across these really interesting YouTubers. They're talking about their spiritual journey. Like in the beginning, I was like, I find them really unbelievable because they were talking about like this the vortexes and like the sensations, the chakras, mm-hmm. like how it spins and stuff like that, all the crazy sensation. And I was like, okay, that's really weird.
But can we rewind a bit? Vortexes? There's different vortexes?
It's vortexes of energy.
Okay.
Okay. But the vortexes you're explaining is part of the body.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
Within.
Yes.
Oh, we're going into deep water now. All right, let's do it. Let's dive right in.
That's a really good word to point out, actually. So yeah, I was like, I was listening to them like, oh wow, that's really interesting. I wanted to try. So I started I downloaded this app for meditation, and where they have like different chakra, and they have different music for different chakra, which is really interesting. So I started that, and then I like meditate for 15 minutes, and it was like crazy because when I meditate, like when I was like going into that deep trance state, and like I could feel that energy vortex in me. Like
what?
Yes.
On day one?
Like I think it was like second time. Like in the very beginning, like I could feel like subtle energy, but it wasn't that strong. But I think it was like the second time or the third time that I started doing it more and like just exploring.
Now describe that energy. Is it like a vibration? What is it? Like, how do you describe it?
It's really interesting. You can feel, since we have 7 chakras, right? You have the crown chakra, you have the third eye chakra, and then you have the throat chakra, and then you have the heart chakra, and then you have the sun chakra, and then from there and on you have more. You have 7, but some people say you have more. So basically, what happened is, at a certain chakras, you could feel that vortex of energy that spin. It almost feel like it's from inside. Like you could feel the energy spinning.
Does all the chakras feel like it's interconnected, or can you isolate each? Like, what do they say about it? I mean, because the only thing I know about that is from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Elements and stuff.
Yeah.
Actually, that is the best way to learn about this spirituality and vortexes and like energy. And stuff like that. So yes, sometimes you could feel flow of, and like sometimes I feel flow of energy coming from the top of my head. Like I feel that pressure. It's almost like put like fingers, like slight pressure, like put your finger on your head, like that
this?
feeling.
Just pushing down.
Like just pushing down a little
All I
bit.
feel is
like that feeling.
my scalp
But
on
without
my
any,
head.
like nobody's touching your head, but you feel that pressure. And then like you feel the flow of energy coming from the top and then going into your body. And then you do feel the different chakra like separately if you put the intention, like when you meditate, like, I want to work on my heart chakra today. And then you just meditate on that intention and then you could actually feel that.
Do you have to be at a certain level to be? Because I meditate, but I'm nowhere near that. I am just trying not to overthink. I'm at a very basic level of meditation. I'm really just trying to focus on one thing and not let my mind wander. I think that's where most people are, and most people give up after that first stage because they're like, you know what? Not letting your mind wander is a lot harder than people think it is. But once you pass that, which I have in certain parts of my life when I'm consistent and I pass it, I'm able to get somewhat outer body experience, which is why when I listen to you, it doesn't sound too off the rocks or off the rails, because I had that feeling of meditation where it's just like deep. But I'd never experienced like different sections of energy within my body that I can control and release, like an avatar.
It sounds like a different level though, to get to understand the different parts of your body, the vortexes.
So I'm open to that, to learning about that. I just find it really interesting.
I don't think there's like categories or like levels or like you're considered to be amateur or like beginner or that, like, because everybody's different and your intention is different. Like for example, some people like to do meditation because they want to do like manifestation, and some people want it to like just calm and healing and just relax and
Very true.
to get rid of stress. So it depends on your intention. So like for me, I was literally just curious. So I was not thinking about like, oh, I should be getting good at meditation. Like I wasn't thinking about anything. The very simple reason, like the very there was nothing complicated about that. Like I just like wanted to see if I could feel it, and so I intentionally like look for that body sensation. So I kind of like go into myself and like trying to like quiet myself down so I can kind of feel the very subtle energy, because you have to be very curious and also you have to like be very quiet to be able to like to feel the very subtle sensation that it's in your body. You probably already have those sensations, you just couldn't feel them, like because you're not like at a point where you're like quiet enough or like you're calm enough or peaceful enough.
Usually
it's there.
We live in New York, so usually like we're on a constant move, so and our mind is constantly like thinking about things, so we don't have that 1 second or 2 seconds or even a few minutes to just relax. And the only time I actually do that is when I'm sitting in the toilet, so or actually in the shower. Actually, taking a shower. Actually, I get a lot of my good ideas when I shower, and I think that's sort of like a form of meditation.
Yes. So what people say, you're in a channeling state. That's the channeling state. So what happened is when you're doing something you love, you're also in the same state when you meditate, because you're so into it, you forget about time. So that is what happens. Like even when you're not meditating or when you're not like intentionally doing it, you're already like kind of in it. Like you're exploring it. Your soul is exploring, and as long as you're align with your passion, then you could feel that. And how do you know when you kind of forget about time and you just like don't even feel the tiredness, and then you just could go on for a long time? Like you could feel it, and that's what happens.
Explain to me, what is your setup like? Do you like black everything out in the room and have certain like lavender scent or candles going on, or do you have music playing at a certain frequency to get you at a certain place? That's
a great question. That's a really good question, actually. I think music, it's really important, or like sound wave, it's super important in the energy world, in the invisible world. So what happened is I always have music on, but I don't really have guided, because some people like to listen to guided meditation where there are people like voice and like guided. You could also do that. So it depends on like what do you find comfortable with. For me, I find comfortable with just pure music. So like the app
What kind of pure music you said?
Just like pure music, like no vocal or like
Pure music.
Okay,
just
pure, yeah, okay.
instrumental,
Just
like-
instrumental
Yeah,
music.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Meditation music, like pure meditation music,
Mm-hmm.
and which I mentioned that I use this app, which is maybe you guys could like upload it. This app, they have like different music for different chakra, and that's what I started with. And the app is called Chakras, and that's what it called. And that's it. It's really simple.
Is it free?
Yes, it's
Okay.
free. Everybody can download it.
So can you describe, like, in terms of each chakra, is there a certain type of music?
Yeah,
Can you describe that?
I think it's not like in so much a sense of different type of music because they're basically sound pretty similar, but it's almost like a permission slip that you could get for yourself to focus on that certain part. So like in your mind, you'd be like, okay, yeah, that's what I am focusing on right now. So it's like that.
With the music, does it have to hit a certain frequency band in order to get you to certain areas? For example, I heard like 2.4 gigahertz or something like that. You know, it gets you in this supernatural wavelength in your mind,
Right.
and you're able to transcend.
Yeah, like Buddhist monks, they chant at a certain frequency sometimes to get them into that that plane of consciousness or unconsciousness, depending on where what your goal is.
It would definitely help, especially if you like there and they're singing to you. That would definitely help. But like just any kind of meditation music would help. Like it doesn't have to be that specific, really. So I just started like really simple. I wasn't really like thinking that complicated. So I just think like you just, as long as you're curious and you're trying it, you're enjoying it. Most importantly, you're enjoying it. And so what happened is I tried that like a few times, and every time was like 15 minutes, 30 minutes. Don't force yourself to like do more, or like if you're feeling uncomfortable, don't do it. Like just do it when you're feeling comfortable and like you're feeling like it, like you want to do it. So I tried that a few times, and also at the same time, I was reading some books on esoteric stuff. I was also in the books that a lot of YouTubers recommended, and I went ahead and read them. And so it was like in a few weeks, I was doing all of this together. And then just like one morning, randomly, I woke up and this crazy sensation in my third eye chakra, this vortex of energy. It was not as subtle as how I feel when I meditate. It's stronger. A stronger sensation of spinning and shaking.
Is that known as like the pineal gland?
Yes.
That's the third eye chakra, and that's something that's rooted deep in our brain. And they say that allows us to kind of tap into an unknown realm.
Yes, you're right on track.
That we're supposed to have access to, but became disengaged from because of what's going on in the world. So
It got calcified, most of the people.
So is that stuff true, or is it just hocus pocus?
Well, I didn't know it was. I mean, I was like so skeptical when I was listening to other people talk about it. But once I experienced it myself, and it's like, I was like, holy shit, this is real. You know, like that kind of feeling. Like at the moment, I was also like unbelievable myself too.
Yeah.
But I wasn't really like completely like, oh no, that's bullshit. I would probably just like keep a question in mind, like maybe not, who knows. You know, you have to try it yourself, you have to experience yourself. So just keep an open-minded attitude, or like a positive attitude, and that's what I had at the moment. So it happened to me because I was like reading about like how their other people's their eye-opening experience was, and that's how I know that that was it.
So people actually described it the way you experienced it.
If you like literally Google their eye-opening symptoms, then they will like a lot of stuff come out. And then you would like see these symptoms like getting dizziness and like the spinning sensation, like a lot of symptoms. Then you could like match them, and it actually like matches, and like, well, holy shit, like all the stuff they describe it is actually happening to me. Like that is like really amazing.
So after experiencing that, did you like this shit is real? I'm gonna go. Yeah. I'm gonna go all in now. I'm gonna find the other chakras in my body.
Wait, hold on.
Oh my god!
We're passing some. I know. I'm really curious.
But I was curious.
All right, so I'm gonna play along. Let's say I open up this pineal gland. I'm able to tap into it, and this sensation comes, does it come with any visual context? Do I get, am I able to see a whole nother world, like little gremlins running around and rainbow, art and all that stuff?
That is a great question. And actually that is a misunderstanding in this. A lot of people like misunderstand until I like go into the research. And their eye opening is really not about like seeing things. But there are people who actually see things since they're little, but that's a different case. But like in the very beginning, you don't really like see things. Like I've never seen like anything like crazy like ghosts or anything like that. No. It's just that your third eye, it's really just a representation of the pineal gland and or that sense of clarity when in terms of all these filtering all the information or all the events that's happening in the world. So it's almost like more how do you say it?
It organizes all of your thoughts.
I think what it helped me do is that it does in some way that organize my thoughts and like help me see things clearer, like that I could easily recognize what is authentic and what is not, and which is really interesting. And so there isn't really anything like crazy that I see. There's really nothing like that. And if you really just do the research yourself, then you will know like
there's a science-based explanation for it.
There is science-based explanation, and there's like other people who have similar experiences. All of them weren't talking about things they see. Like, I think that's the misunderstanding of what this is, and that is the thing that I feel like I really need to clarify to people. So that is a really great questions. Yeah, and a lot of people were like so scared because they think like once their eye open that they will see like things they don't want to see. Like that is a huge concern for people who don't want to. I really don't know because I haven't seen anything. But to like in a scientific way,
I see dead people.
if I open a chakra and that made me see dead people, I'll be like, how do I close this? How do I shut the door right now?
See that? Yes. So a lot of people come to me. They're like, "Oh, you have to be careful with that."
Oh, that's interesting. Like people when they talk about spiritualism, it's people could think about it as something demonic, right, or something evil,
or something weird or crazy.
Right. It can't be explained by science.
Right.
Yeah.
Unknown, yeah, completely. But the thing is though, about anything that's negative or like or what we consider demonic, it's really what people kind of create in their own mind. It's almost like, how people have mental sickness, like they create their own illusion, they create their own problem. It's like because how manifestation works is what you think, what comes true, right? So if you have your third eye open and if you're constantly thinking about stuff like that, right? It's going to happen. And then you're going to create these demonic stuff, creature. I don't want to say spirits or anything like.
Or just like simply if, negative energy attracts like energy, like negative energy.
So it really depends on how you look at it.
Yeah, I think if you can subscribe to manifestation, I know a lot of people do. I know a lot of business owners, executives, people, to simplify it, people, let's just say they have presentations to give the next day and they start manifesting and they start looking in their mind like they see themselves succeeding. Or people at an award show, they're seeing themselves being able to get up there and make a speech when they accept their award. Athletes, they see themselves making the shot, golf, basketball, baseball, football, they all manifest this in their mind. I think that within itself is also like a form of meditation. Yes,
it's the quantum field, what they call it, the quantum field, which is how the energy works. Where I talk about vortexes of energy, or just a lot of attractions, and that is all how energy works. So that is why there is really nothing like negative or positive. It's mostly neutral. It's basically all neutral. It's really what you think of it or what you make of it. Like if you just keep thinking about something negative, obviously you're going to have a result, or you're going to have a physical manifestation, a result of negative. So that's what people use it in like business, or you could use it in any aspect in your life, right? And instead of manifesting the negative side of it, you start manifesting on the positive side of it, and that's what you get. And and the more informed and more knowledgeable on how this works as in a scientific way, the more confidence you get, and also there is really less fear you have. And because fear really comes from unknown, and it really comes from ignorance, because people don't know how it works.
Why does it seem like when someone is very spiritual, others from the outside looking in will go, oh, that person's like nuts. Or no, that's crazy. I don't need that in my life.
Yes.
Right.
I do get that sometimes too from people or from friends, but mostly my friends that are closer, like my closer friend, they have been very supportive so far, or like they are like somewhat already like doing yoga, doing meditation. I mean, you guys are doing meditation, so like people are just skeptical, but they're not like completely like, oh, I'm rejecting it. So they're kind of like, I'm just observing to see what's going to happen.
Do you feel a difference once you start, like what is that, and what is that difference, and how has it helped you?
That's a really good question. I actually feel like a lot of difference, mostly internal differences, and probably my friend can feel it too, like my energy. It's just like the way I present myself in a more calmer way, or like in a more compared to how I used to be, and also it affects how I communicate with other people. And it also adds more perspective to me when I communicate with other people, or when I look at things. So, for example, and I'm going to use my relationship as an example. So, like before my awakening, and there was a period where I argue a lot with my boyfriend, and it happens, and then you get so stuck in your own emotion and we start arguing. But like what happened is like really strange. When my awakening started, and like when this was happening to me, and then when we were arguing, and then like all of a sudden I just have like more perspective. Like all of a sudden, I don't know why, like I was not doing that before. All of a sudden I started doing I was starting seeing things in his perspective. You're
able to empathize.
Yes, I was able to feel how he feel, and like to like, hey, maybe he's just really tired, he's stressful, maybe I should just be more forgiving, and maybe I should just be more understanding. Like that voice, that kind of voice started like to, I could hear that in my head. So then I come out differently. Then I, like, oh, I talk differently because I think that I think in a more
understanding way.
Understanding way.
You're seeing things from his point of view, and you may not look at it as so negative.
Yes.
Where you're like, you know what? Maybe
or like blaming,
guy. Yeah.
It's very easy to like start blaming, or like, oh, I feel sad. You should be more like, you should do this, or you should do that, like to make me feel better. Like It's all like me. But then like what happened is really interesting. It makes your ego like, it silences your ego. And so you could like look at things at a bigger picture. And that is the biggest difference I could feel. And that it helped. And I think that's what it's all about. It's not really about all these like physical sensation, like craziness. It's really all about like these more profound things that it could bring to you for to improve your life, like your relationship, or like it just your career or stuff like that. Yeah, and I feel it's a great benefit. It's really great benefit.
So it sounds like, and it makes sense. I'm connecting the dots here, where it gives you a peace of mind, and that within itself leads to a higher percentage of inner happiness.
Yes.
And when you're happier inside, and that's your feeling and your emotion, the people around you that you love will feel that effect.
Yes.
Instead of the opposite, where if you're a miserable person, then you're just going to make everyone miserable about you. I can't tell you how many people that I used to, when I used to work with certain people, they were very miserable, and you can feel it like in the mornings, they just have this
sourpuss face, like it manifests physically. You can see it. People will notice that, oh, you have a really frown in your face. You're like you're pissed off. Okay?
They're rude.
Your shoulders are shrugged in
They're
some
mean.
way. Yeah. For me, in terms of meditation, it definitely helped me just like clear my mind and just de-stress, because stress is my thing. Like I get stressed out easily, and so it always comes off as like, oh, I might bark at someone, I might yell at someone that's super close to me, and they didn't do anything, you know, they didn't really do anything. Like my girlfriend, I would just, you know, just like, get away from me, like,
God damn.
I mean, you know,
God damn, I don't know.
I mean, like I'll be like stressed, and then she's,
Poor
you know, next to me,
Gabby.
even
Just for
next
a split
to.
second, but you're like,
Well,
oh shit, I should have
it's a
said
split
that.
second. Yeah, it's a split second. So I mean, I catch myself after a split second. I was like, "Fuck," you know. I should have said that or done anything. You know, done that. So I always catch myself like a second later, and I think like meditating actually helped me kind of open up that understanding. Like I know I'm stressed out, but why am I taking out on the person I care about or love?
And I think like none of us should ever have a high tolerance for stress, because stress is not even good for your body.
I was talking to someone, and she was telling me, she says, you have an uncomfortable level of tolerance for stress. She's like, that I feel bad for you. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, no, that's cool. I could take it. You know, I'm good. And she's like, no, that means you've been through too much, and you probably shouldn't have. And that was probably at a young age. It's not. It didn't come from old. That's why you have that resilience, but you don't have to live with that stress.
Yeah.
There's other choices. Yeah. Oh boy. When she said that to me,
Other choices.
Choices. Because in my mind, my programming, it's like, that's just the way it is. If I want something, this is the way. I got to work hard for it. I have to make sacrifices. I have to do this, and there's no other choice, and this is it. And that is true to an extent.
Yeah.
But the stresses in my life, I started reevaluating some of the things that need to go and that can go. I was carrying all this baggage. And I guess in that sense, I became an emotional hoarder. And by letting some of that extra stuff go and being like an inner minimalist, I just became so much looser, so much healthier. I just felt more vibrant. I didn't feel so like just aggressive anymore. Like I had to fight everything in front of me. Like everything was a fight. Everything had to be like, oh, we need to do it. Like, it was just so much aggression. And the women in my life were telling me, Will, time out, man. And the women is telling me this. They're just like, chill, dude. Like you got this, but you don't need to feel like that. Let some of that go. And once I made that adjustment in life, I'm way happier now. Like the happiness level has just gone up, and I'm able to say no to so many more things, whereas before I couldn't say no to anyone or anything. So I'm all right with just, they're like, no, I'm like, all right, goodbye. You know, it's all good. And other things, I'm like, all right, yeah, that's cool. Let's do that. And I'll feel very chill doing it.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Now, the stress, did it ever affect your health? Like, you know how stress increases your cortisones, and that
your blood pressure.
Your blood pressure negatively affects your health.
So I used to be a smoker.
Yeah.
So I would have these unhealthy triggers when I would be stressed out to help me cope with that stress. It wasn't just all like, oh, I'm stressed, it's okay.
But you need something.
I'm gonna deal with it. I need something to help me, like, I guess, medicate it temporarily. And I wasn't into meditation. I didn't really believe in any of that stuff. Yeah. So I really just focused on, like, either I'd have a drink, like after work, I'll be like, oh man, that was a tough day. Yes. I go to the bar, meet up with my friends, and that was my way of kind of balancing hard. Work hard, party hard. So I'm sure we all heard that saying, and that actually burnt me out even more emotionally. Right. And it's these unhealthy things I put in place that I thought made me happy that just wasn't conducive to my health or my spirituality. So I drank, I smoked a lot of cigarettes, And I mean, Norm, you remember how much?
Oh yeah, I think it was you were chain smoking basically, like a pack a day.
Yeah,
2 packs a day.
I was killing it. I was smoking so much. The more
Sounds
stressed
like you're
I was,
really stressed.
yeah, and then that leads to everything. So then you start connecting, and that's how you go into a downward trend. You start connecting cigarettes with food, cigarettes with happiness, cigarettes with whatever. When you wake up, when you go to bed, when you watch TV, whatever, certain types, you just have all these connections with unhealthy habits, right? So you formulate these connections, and I did the same thing with a slew of other things, and it was just a domino effect of self-sabotage slowly. It was so incremental that to me it just felt normal. That's just the way it is. It is, until one day I just kind of looked at myself from outside myself.
Yes.
And I was like, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're aging yourself. You're killing yourself. You're in your 20s, and you got guys that are in their 30s, 40s that's like outplaying you, and you can't even, you're like, if I'm playing sports, it's on like basketball, the game, the score is like only 5 to like whatever. Midway through, I'm huffing and puffing and I just had enough of being unhealthy, and had to make that change. So I started looking into meditation. That was one of the first things I did, was looking. Like, what can I replace all these bad habits with? Because there's going to be a void, that gap, and you can't you cannot give that up without filling it back in with something.
Yes.
That there's a void there. You need to fill it back with something. So I decided to just fill in all those pieces with healthy options.
You like yoga, meditation?
I did.
Because at a certain point you were doing yoga, and then
Yes.
you got our group of friends involved in it as well. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Amazing.
that definitely.
Yeah, I got them
like,
into yoga too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing.
I mean, like, yoga is not just for the faint of heart. It's hard too. It's
Yeah.
physically hard.
You know what's the funny thing? Here's the interesting part of this. It's when we were raised, people look at men. Ew, you a bitch ass dude for meditating. What, yoga? That's for girls. And they'll try to feminize you.
Yes.
Or make you
totally
seem like
see that.
less of a man. But the truth, it's so hard. Meditation, it's so challenging and difficult to control your own mind.
Yeah.
And yoga for men, especially because a lot of men just have more muscles, right? Because testosterone is just the way we're built structurally, and the more muscles you have, the more challenging it is to remain flexible. So when I first got into yoga, I was easy, and I'm probably still I'm easy as the worst person in any yoga class. Easy. I'm in the back trying not to bump into people. It's changed my life. It's changed my life. It's given me clarity. It made me, after you get through a yoga session, you're just like, you're dripping with sweat, and you feel like you dripped out all that negative, nasty stuff, and you feel like you got a fresh start. After you take that shower, you get yourself cleaned up, you feel clean inside too, and you're more flexible, so your blood's flowing better, and you get more clarity. And I love that stuff. And I have to admit, I've been going away from it.
Actually, I went back into it. I was going away from it, and then this past week I started doing, well, I guess you could call it couples yoga.
Ooh.
Because I'm doing yoga with my girlfriend.
That's nice.
And we make it a point to do it like, okay, we have a free moment during the day, like during the workday, and hey, let's do 30 minutes and get into it. And then it's not just about stretching. It's about breathing. It's about like the focus that you have. And even if you can't do the pose, really it's not that for me personally, I don't think it's important to actually achieve the pose. It's about actually trying to get to that point, but also be mindful that you also like breathing and making sure that your mind is clear, so that and focused, that you can achieve where you need to be. And so I can't do all this. I can't honestly. I could probably do like 50% of the poses.
Wow, that is pretty good.
I'm pretty like I'm
That is
pretty.
pretty good.
I'm not flexible anymore. I used to be. I'm not flexible anymore. But I want to know when you were going through that whole spirituality awakening, what did your boyfriend say about it? Like what? Because we were talking about we were talking about how it's perceived as feminine, but how did he take it?
Yes. that is a big thing. Actually, that is something that I was just talking about it with my other friend who was really, she's in China right now. She's like really into this spirituality stuff too. But her boyfriend was not supportive at all. Well, like this situation is what a lot of people are experiencing. But I mean, my boyfriend, he was in the beginning, he was kind of like teases me like, oh, you know, like, you're going at that stuff again, you know? But he wasn't really like in a way that's really disrespectful, but he's just kind of like joking, yeah, because he's so busy with his work, and I could understand that he won't understand that feeling that I have, or because it's not about him, or it's about me and him. It's more about me and myself. It's really more about like you working with the relationship with yourself. So whether you're talking about working out, you're talking about doing yoga, or you're talking about doing meditation, or you're simply doing something that you love, it's really you are working on the relationship between you and yourself, and that's what it matters. So, and I think he could feel that like, you know, he was saying earlier that people would feel that happiness, you know, they're not going to judge you by that, right? Why would your friend like be judging you when you're happy? Like, that's not wrong.
And that's not a friend.
right? That's not the type
friend.
of, like, you're like so happy, inspired, and then your friend try to put you down, like,
yeah,
right?
That's certainly not a friend.
So it's nothing bad. It's like it's really good stuff because you're feeling happier, you're feeling more fulfilled. It's really, you're working on yourself. So a lot of my friends, they were like, "Oh, I'm really proud of you. Oh, you know, it's really inspiring." Instead of like putting you down and stuff like that. So he's been supportive somewhat, and really funny stuff. I started getting into crystal. I was just like talking about it too.
Crystals?
Yeah, crystals.
Like
and
crystal
stuff.
meth?
Not drugs. We're not talking about drugs. I don't think we're going to talk about drugs.
No.
Crystals that help you what?
Crystal. So we there's so many different type of crystal that help with energy work.
This is foreign to me. You have actual crystals?
Yes.
Do you consume it into like a tea or like?
Oh no! Like for example, look, I have a moonstone bracelet right here.
Oh, one of those.
So
I remember when people were in like all these athletes was wearing these bracelets
like made from different types
because
of
they said it helped
minerals.
them. Yeah, because it helps them balance or whatever.
Crystals, yes.
Yeah.
But they ended up proving that was like BS.
Oh, really?
A lot of my
I don't know
athlete
about
friends
that.
was like, yo, this thing helps me balance better, or it was like such a big thing back in the day.
Yeah.
And
Well,
everyone was wearing like a little bracelet.
Maybe it was too hyped up to a point where like a lot of things aren't really what it is. Maybe.
Well,
Or
I
distorted.
I do know that certain types of minerals and stones, like onyx, like quartz, it has a certain vibration and a certain type of energy.
Yes.
So is that what you're talking about?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, they do?
There's so many
Yeah,
different.
they use
type
quartz
of,
in watches to keep time to keep.
Oh, that's
So
right.
that's the certain
right.
vibration. Yeah.
You guys could also try this. I also have some raw crystals, like where it's just like a rock, or like they could be also in round shape or in a pyramid shape. So what happened that you could actually meditate with crystal. You just kind of hold it in your hand and you meditate. And like you could try it. Like I find really interesting is like I could feel the energy of the crystal too as well. So which is really interesting. Like really subtle, really subtle. You have to be really like deep in trance and quiet yourself to be able to feel the subtleness of energy. So yeah, so
Does it shake? It's like because we're talking about vibrations, right?
not
So
that it shake, but
No.
you could feel like, you know, like there's like energy. You
Bro,
know,
you,
like,
you keep this up, you're gonna be throwing Hadoukens.
well, Hadouken is an energy source. It comes from within.
Yeah.
Avatar.
Well, yeah,
Street
Avatar.
Fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Street Fighter.
I love
yeah.
Avatar.
Does the shape matter?
Yeah.
Whether it's round or in
Yeah.
the shape of a triangle?
It kind of matters, and it also kind of doesn't matter. But you could have all kind of different shape of crystal. You could have the round one supposed to be like the energy could go outward, like, you know, in all directions. And different crystal have different energy and different different uses.
Okay.
So the funny story is here. So how I got my boyfriend to be like a little more supportive, because he's like all like you are, like really pumped up like at work, and like he's like all about like I'm getting work done. So he worked like 15 hours per day. So he's like overworked all the time. But he's also like the type of like, yeah, I'm doing this, and like my goal, like I'm determined, like that type. So
He's a go-getter.
yes.
Yeah.
And then he's like all about like wealth and stuff. So I got this yellow quartz, and yellow quartz are well known for luck and wealth.
Yellow
Yellow
quartz?
quartz.
Yellow
Yeah.
quartz,
Okay.
yeah. So I got him that, and he was like, okay. He was like so excited. He was like, yes, give me that.
Now you're speaking my language. Cha-ching!
Yeah, just anything
And then he's
yellow.
like,
you
and
know?
then he's like, he kept that crystal in his purse like every day, and he carries with him every day.
Okay.
So he started to believe, like whatever.
I think he believes subconsciously. Like he's not gonna say like, well, masculinity, right? Like, sometimes you don't really like say it, but like
Right.
you're kind of like you're already giving permission. You know what I mean?
I'm so over all that. Like, yo, that's not manly, or that's feminine,
Yeah.
or you a guy, you're not supposed to. Like, come on, it's 2020.
Yes.
Like, calm down with that.
Yeah.
Like, like that's no. Women can do this. Men can do that. Like, it's all good. I'm all for it. I mean, you got all these celebrities wearing dresses now, man.
Oh yeah. The Vogue. Did you Vogue?
Yeah, who
Where-
was it? Was it Harry Styles?
Harry Styles. Yeah, he was wearing a dress in the cover, and he's the first male on the Vogue cover, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Vogue
Oh,
is
shit.
usually female. Yeah, so
Wow.
he's representing
Amazing.
for all the guys out there.
And then Kanye wore a kilt, right?
Mhm.
And what? Jaden. So I mean, it's
That's great.
There's a lot of guys out there. They're kind of challenging what's manly. So I just think that it's unhealthy sometimes to just label something as less than a certain gender
Yeah.
just because you're trying out something new. I just there's something about that just feels outdated.
And it's especially hard because we're in America. How we grow up with all the superhero movies, that's just like even worse, because then like you get an image of how a male is supposed to be from these movies. Like a lot of people are actually like kind of brainwashed when they're not even aware like of how this male and female kind of categories and stuff.
It's this brainwashing where you're conditioned or programmed
Yes.
to believe a certain thing that it's always supposed to be like that. And as you get older and you become, I guess, more open-minded or flexible in your thinking,
Yes.
you start questioning everything. Like, oh my gosh, like that, everything I thought was true may not. It starts challenging some of your beliefs. And it could be with religion, either way, whether I've seen it in both ways, where people used to be religious and then they became atheists, or if they were once atheists and then they became religious.
Yes. And I believe that whether you're a male or female, you have that feminine and masculine energy and power in you. It just depends on how you use them. And you are able to use both in a very empowering way to empower you, because the feminine energy, it empowers you from within, and you still need that masculine energy to help you cope with the world when
Right.
you are out there, right? So you need both to really survive in this world. So it's not about like, it's never healthy to be one extreme to the other, right? So it's always like about finding that balance of empowering from both of your feminine energy and your masculine energy, embracing them. So I think speaking from either a female perspective or a male perspective, it's like the same, vice versa. So
Yeah, there certainly is a female energy and a male energy, and I didn't really know what it was until I started reading books that were in such a wide range until I started reading such a wide range of books. And that's when I discovered a lot of what I felt. I was able to go, okay, I'm not alone. And because I was thinking, no, I was just dismissing, like, you know what? No, there's no way is that, or is it though? It is what I'm feeling, but I would dismiss my own thoughts and my own emotions. And when I read some books, I'm just, wait, the feminine energy and the male energy and how to use it to succeed. And I was like, yeah, I do that now. And when I read it, it just doubled down on everything for me. I was able to go, oh my gosh, look at this. I could tap into this energy, and I can tap into my female side, and then I can tap into my male side. But it's not what you think. You would think right away, it's like how to be the most manliest man in the room, right? That's couldn't be further from the truth. The female energy, and why is it so important for us to have both and utilize it?